I reunited the entire Rhodes family, Dusty, Dustin, and Cody in WWE 2k24 to see how successful they could be, so let's just jump in. So our first show is Backlash, where the Rhodes family is coming out in full force. Firstly, for the WWE Tag Team Championships, Dusty and Dustin team up to take on the team of Pretty Deadly, who became the Tag Team Champions somehow. Dusty Rhodes decides to start beating the crap out of both Pretty Deadly members, and then we have a fucky finish. One of the Pretty Deadly guys gets in the ring. Dusty is slow to get in the ring. A count out. But if we look at the photo finish here, Dusty is in the ring. And the referee still counted out the fall. So Pretty Deadly retain in a pretty shitty way. Frankly, I hate countouts, so there's probably going to be a rematch at the next pay-per-view. And in the main event, Cody Rhodes, the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, defends against Roman Reigns, unsurprisingly, in LA Knight. LA Knight elbows down Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns rolls out of the ring. Cody Rhodes then sunset flips over him and gets him in a roll-up pin for the win. Cody Rhodes retains the Undisputed Championship through a roll-up. Poor Roman Reigns tries to become the Tribal Chief once again, but in the end, he loses. So after Backlash, we decided to add this wheel. I know, look how great it is. And whatever it lands on will affect the Rhodes family in some way. So we spin it around for the first time, and Superstar Billy Graham is now a part of the Rhodes family. Cool! And the first match of Night of Champions is a rematch. Rhodes family, Dustin and Dusty versus Pretty Deadly and Extreme Rules to make sure that there is no count-outs, none of that crap, right? We're here to see who the true winner is. And a pure chaotic brawl, Dusty Rhodes, Old Man Dusty, ends up grabbing a sledgehammer and bonking Elton into the gut and Kit right in the ass, and pins Kit Wilson for the 3, while Dustin just chills in the corner. Dusty and Dustin have become the new WWE Tag Team Champions. In the main event, Cody Rhodes is defending the Undisputed Championship against Logan Paul for some reason. Sorry, Roman, you gotta go back to fight Solo Sikoa in the mid-card. And does Superstar Billy Graham do anything to help Cody? No, he doesn't. Except taking the turnbuckle pad off the post twice. Logan Paul brass-knuckling Cody in the face in front of the referee, and he gets disqualified. Absolute buffoonery behavior by Logan Paul. So Logan Paul gets no more title shots, and Cody Rhodes is pog face, I guess. We spin our wheel, and it lands on Dusty to random, meaning that Dusty Rhodes' gimmick will be randomized, and our randomizer lands on Eric of the Viking Raiders, so that means the American Dream has become the American Viking. Great. And at Money in the Bank, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins face off in a champion v champion match, only that the World Heavyweight Championship is the only thing that's on the line. But despite Billy Graham attempting to actually help this time, Seth lands a moonsault and a frog splash to retain his championship. Billy Graham and Dustin are so upset that they start arguing with the fan at ringside, and Rollins celebrates as they're doing that. But this pay-per-view isn't over because the Money in the Bank ladder match is left, and Viking Dusty Rhodes wins the briefcase. I guess all you need sometimes is a change of gimmick to succeed. Other maybe than... Alright, it's wheel time. So we spin the wheel, and Dustin ends up changing gimmicks, going from his current shtick in modern times to classic Goldust. On the road to SummerSlam, Dusty Rhodes cashes in his briefcase and becomes the world champion for the first time since the 1980s. You know, the times when 99% of my audience, including myself, weren't alive during that time? Anyways, at SummerSlam, the whole family's out in wrestling tonight. First match is for the tag titles. Goldust and Billy Graham, who's pulling a Freebird rule, takes on the team of Uncle Howdy and Bronson Reed. Billy Graham gets Uncle Howdy in a massive bear hug, and Howdy submits to it to retain the championships for the Rhodes family. Great booking for the Wyatt family, am I right? And up next, Roman Reigns is finally getting his shot for the title once again against Cody Rhodes, but now Santos is here and makes it a triple threat. Roman Reigns goes for a spear, but he gets countered into a DDT by Cody, and Cody just pins Santos immediately afterwards. Roman gets screwed over again as Cody's reign as champion continues on. And in main event time, Dusty Rhodes fights Rollins. Oh wait, nope, sorry about that. It's main event Jey Uso. Sorry. A spear by Jey Uso isn't able to keep Dusty down for a 3 count, but then Jey hits a falling neckbreaker to get the win, and main event Jey Uso becomes world champion while Seth Rollins just does nothing. Alright, after we spin the wheel, Dusty has to randomize his gimmick again, and ends up changing into the Macho Man, which honestly fits a bit. I actually like the pink trunks on him. They actually look pretty good. First match at Payback, the Macho Dream Dusty Rhodes challenges Jey Uso in a Dusty Classic match, a cage match. And Dusty Rhodes ends up winning the championship back after a bionic elbow to pin Jey Uso. Dusty is now a two-time world champion in 2024. And now we got another match, the main event. Cody Rhodes is back to defending the WWE Championship, this time against CM Punk, in another cage match for some reason. And Cody is able to climb out of the cage to retain the championship. Lame way to win, Cody, but he still rolls on as champion, and Punk could fuck off and feud with Drew McIntyre for the rest of the year, I guess. Wheel spin, and now Dustin goes from Goldust to one of his greatest gimmicks, probably of all time, 7. Now you might be asking, what is 7? Well, it was a gimmick where Dustin stalked children. And then he came out in his debut and saying how awful this gimmick was and how he won't be playing it anymore. But now Dustin has become 7 again for the one person in the wrestling community that thinks it was actually a good gimmick. Anyways, in Fastlane, the tag team title is being defended as Billy Graham and 7 defend against Sheamus and Pete Dunne. Billy Graham gets Pete Dunne in a backbreaker position and breaks his back and making him submit to it. Another submission win for Billy Graham as he stacks up the spines that he's broken, and with 7 in his corner, who can stop them? It's main event time. Macho Dusty is back to defend the world title against Seth Rollins, finally getting his shot, and CM Punk. What's with all these triple threats? Punk rolls out of the ring, and Dusty goes on to bite Seth Rollins' fingers, and this was so devastating that Seth could not continue and gets pinned. Dusty retains after eating Seth's index finger. Probably, but hopefully not. It's time to spin the wheel once again, and it ends up meaning that Dustin ends up having to switch gimmicks from 7 to Black Reign. It's time for War Games. The whole Nightmare family, Billy Graham, Black Reign, Macho Dusty, and Cody Rhodes take on the team of Damian Priest, Bobby Lashley, Apollo Crews, and R-Truth. What a random team. And after a hellacious War Games match, R-Truth makes Black Reign tap out to an abdominal stretch. Someone finally tapped out to the abdominal stretch for once in wrestling. And the Rhodes family take their biggest L so far in this simulation. To be honest, this whole kind of team of the Rhodes family right now is kind of cursed. All we need is like Cody Rhodes to become Stardust, it would be complete. It's a new year and it's time to spin the wheel once again. We spin the wheel, there's a lot less options on the board. Cody Rhodes has to go from the American Nightmare back to Stardust. Finally, it's gonna happen. Stardust is finally here. And due to the winners of War Games, all of them are getting title shots against the Rhodes family. Up first, Black Reign and Billy Graham defend against the team of Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews. Bobby Lashley takes Black Reign down and then he taunts on the corner like a dummy. Then Black Reign takes in the tag, he tags at Billy Graham. Billy Graham immediately locks on a bear hug and Bobby Lashley immediately taps out before Apollo Crews could break it up. Billy Graham and Black Reign retain their championships as Billy Graham has now broken 3 spines. And up next, Damian Priest challenges Dusty Rhodes for the World Heavyweight Championship. And after Damian Priest eats 4 bionic elbows from Dusty Rhodes, something crazy happens. He gets his hand on the ropes, but the referee counts the 3 anyways. Unfortunately for Damian Priest, there are no Dusty finishes in this universe, meaning that he gets screwed and there's nothing he can do about it. And Dusty Rhodes is now going into WrestleMania as champion while Damian Priest kicks the bucket. And now we have the WWE Championship. Stardust defense against R-Truth for the WWE title. This might be the only opportunity where R-Truth could actually win this match. The Stardust overall is, yikes. But unfortunately for R-Truth, Stardust hits the Queen's Crossbow to pin him for the 3, and Stardust somehow retains the WWE Championship. I for sure thought he was going to lose it. But no, Stardust defies all logic and retains. We also had 2 Royal Rumble matches. Our winners for the women's side, Rhea Ripley, which is the least surprising thing I could ever think of. And then on the men's side, Rey Mysterio. So both Rhea and Rey are going to WrestleMania getting title shots. And it looks like Stardust is going to have to defend against Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Now on the road to WrestleMania, we have to spin the wheel once again, and something interesting happens this time. A woman is now added to the Nightmare family. Who is this woman that is joining the faction? Well, it ends up being Dakota Kai, who decided to leave Damage Control and try to take a risk to become a single star by joining up with the Rhodes family. And at Elimination Chamber, she will be challenging the current women's champion, Liv Morgan. And Dakota Kai loses after eating a code breaker from Liv. She gets one opportunity to shine as a singles person and she loses, which is pretty freaking depressing, to be honest. And in the main event, it's an Elimination Chamber. Dusty Rhodes has to defend his championship against some of the best on Raw and SmackDown. Why SmackDown? I don't know. Unfortunately for Dusty, it doesn't end well, as Kevin Owens ends up defeating Macho Dusty, and Kevin Owens now wins the championship away from Dusty Rhodes in a lead up to WrestleMania. Now, before we get to the show of shows, we still have Raw and SmackDown to deal with. So we spin the wheel for one of the last times, and it goes back to Dustin going back to his old self, thank God. No more Black Reign. Instead, it's just good old Dustin Rhodes. After Dakota Kai lost her only singles match, she gets another opportunity, this time for the women's tag titles, as she teams up with Indy Hartwell to take on the other teams of Lita and Beth Phoenix and Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And after one of the worst ladder matches I have ever seen in my entire life, Indy Hartwell climbs up the ladder and takes down the championships. Indy Hartwell and Dakota Kai become the new women's tag team champions, as Dakota Kai, being a part of the Nightmare family, takes it home for them. And Indy Hartwell also, I guess, is a part of the Nightmare family too. And now we arrive at the SmackDown before WrestleMania, where we spin the wheel for one of the last times, and Dusty Rhodes ends up having to change gimmicks again. And he changes gimmicks with none other than the greatest of all time, John Cena. On SmackDown, the tag team titles are decided. Dustin Rhodes, after going through every single one of his gimmicks, both good and bad, and Billy Graham are now defending them once again against Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa of the New Bloodline. Tonga Loa hits a crossroads on the outside, and rather than throwing Billy Graham back into the ring, he just goes in by himself and purposely wins by countout. Anyways, the Bloodline celebrate like they just won the championships, but they didn't because they won by countout, and there's no restarting the match on this one. If you're too dumb to get your opponent back in the ring so you win by countout in a title match, you don't get any rematches. So, sorry Tama Tonga, no more matches for you. But now we're here at WrestleMania. Dusty Rhodes, who is now the face of the C Nation, takes on Kevin Owens, the World Heavyweight Champion, and once again, a steel cage match. And Dusty is able to take Kevin Owens down with a power slam and then one bionic elbow to the chest, and it's over. Dusty Rhodes ends up winning back the championship that he lost at Elimination Chamber. All he had to do was go into a cage match and change his gimmick one more time. Dusty Rhodes is now a 3-time world champion, but that's not the end. We have one more match. It's the WWE Championship. The Rey Mysterio is challenging for the championship. We spin the wheel for the final time and nothing happens. So Stardust is still Stardust. Although, because undashing Cody Rhodes is sad and depressed he isn't being used, we decided to put him in the corner for Stardust, as well as Cody Rhodes for some reason. The main event of WrestleMania ends in a 5-minute match after Rey Mysterio crossbodies Stardust down. None of the two Codys on the outside are able to help him or have the desire to help Stardust, and Rey Mysterio defeats Stardust in the main event to become a WWE champion once again. Hopefully it'll be longer than his first one. Despite the Rhodes family basically doing a clean sweep of everything, the only person that lost was Stardust. Thanks for watching and take care.